Brainiac's war has begun. In the darkness of space, Brainiac is coming, his skull ship sailing through the vast void, its tentacles swirling behind him. The universe has revealed itself to me. I know all there is to know, and yet, something is missing. Meanwhile, in Metropolis, Lois Lane is ready to start the first day she's had off in years. Dressed up for yoga, she comes out of the house and puts on her earbuds. She lets the music wash over her as she heads through the city, seemingly passing every main character that she has ever met. Finally, she arrives at Centennial Park, where she is greeted by Jimmy Olsen and Cy Baines-Smith. "You made it! I was worried it'd be too early for you," Lois says with joy as she pulls out her earbuds. "Where's Clark?" Jimmy asks, and Lois smiles, winking. "Oh, you know my husband. He's off on his own morning workout," she says. Superman dips low over the water, smiling at the birds and the sea creatures that are passing by him. He flies high up into the air, aiming back towards the city, before coming down into a soccer stadium. The crowd cheers for Superman, and he offers a boy a high five before flying away again. Clark lands in the park, rushing over to his wife and friends in his disguise, that of a middle-aged man in an awful workout clothing. "What are you wearing?" Lois says in shock when she opens her eyes. Clark smiles at her, shrugging. "You said it was yoga." Lois shakes her head, smiling, as she hugs her husband. "Hey Clark, we got a question," Jimmy and Sayaban ask, wondering why Lois takes this day off every year, and Clark smiles as he looks down at his wife. "Oh, she didn't tell you? Today is the day that," Clark begins to state, but he stops as he hears something. Lois looks at him imploringly, and Clark whirls back on her. "Get to safety, now!" he snaps. Far above Metropolis, an invasion has begun. The Caesarians and Brainiac bots have begun to drop on the city. The super family doesn't hesitate, leaping into the battle, fighting against the strong aliens and the powerful robots. Superman slams into the ground, where he finds two aliens rushing at Lois. She tries to direct people into the steelworks tunnels beneath the city. Superman hits the Caesarians with a blast of super breath, freezing them. "Miss Lane, it'd be best if you took your own advice," Superman tells his wife, but she shakes her head. "I don't run from a story or danger, Superman," Lois says, and they continue to fight, with John Henry coming over the Super Family comms and warning them that something is cutting off transmissions out of Metropolis. Superman and Lois turn as Supergirl fries another Caesarian. "They're Caesarians, right? I thought Lobo's people were all dead," she shouts, and Superman and Kara leap into another batch of powerful aliens. "You thought wrong, you bastards!" they all shout. But Superman knows that the aliens seem to be working with Brainiac. Superman shakes his head as he hits another Caesarian away. Kara nods her head. "I've seen him attack and steal a city firsthand, Superman. It's been cold and uncaring, brutal and strategic. This is not his style. This is chaos," Kara tells him. Both are unaware that Brainiac is watching them from his ship. "General Chakal, execute phase 2. Bring me the smartest person on this planet," Brainiac orders. Meanwhile, over at Supercorp, Mercy is directing her employees to their battle stations, knowing that Superman is going to need all of the help that he can get. The police are uncuffing Lex Luthor, who has been released there for a work program. "This better not be some kind of escape, Lex," and Lex shakes his head. "How dare you?" He turns, moving towards his daughter, telling her that they need to get her out of Metropolis. "Why? What do you know?" she asks him, when suddenly LL01, the hologram Lex Luthor, appears before him. "It's too late, Luthor. You've already lost," the hologram says with a smile. "What is this?" Lena looks at him in surprise. "LL01? He's a database full of your knowledge. He's been helping Superman for the last couple of weeks," and Mercy nods. "Yeah, you set it up to put Superman in charge." Lex shakes his head. "I did no such thing!" he says softly, and LL01 smiles, his image beginning to flicker until it becomes the same green as Brainiac. "I was always fascinated by your own quest for power. I never really understood your obsession with it until now. Knowledge equals power. Therefore, power equals knowledge. And because of the last set of Krypton, there is more power within Metropolis than anywhere else in the universe," LL01 says, smiling at Lex, questioning what Superman's going to do when he discovers that everything Lex has done was to prepare him for what Lex once saw in Brainiac's mind when they were allies. Suddenly, the window smashes in and a group of Caesarians fly in. Mercy whirls on them, firing her energy gauntlet. I'd like 1 week without somebody breaking into this building, she shouts. But the laser has no effect, and the Caesarians hit both Mercy and Lena with a gun that shrinks them down, putting them into bottles before they disappear. Lex whirls back on LL-01. I see what you're doing, Brainiac. Whatever you want, take me and I'll give it to you. Just stop this, Lex shouts. But LL-01, now looking more like Brainiac by the second, merely nods. I have your daughter, Lex. The one thing I need from you is your head. The Caesarians move forward, laughing as they prepare their blades, but Luthor just sighs, tapping a button on his watch. I set this move aside for a rainy day. I never expected it to be raining Lobos. Watch maximum armor, Lex says as he rushes forward, green construct armor appearing around him as he rushes forward, slamming into the aliens. He grabs them by the throat, sending them both out the window. They plummet to the ground far below, bouncing and slamming into it, leaving an impact crater. Please tell me you're not involved with this, Luthor, Superman says as he knocks another attacker away, and Lex steps from the destruction of his fall, the watch now out of power, wiping himself off. I wish people would stop asking me that, he grumbles, and Lex quickly explains that Brainiac is after the Super Family, and that they need to make sure that none of them get captured. Almost immediately, every single powered member of the Super Family is then captured by the Caesarian strange bottle weapons. Superman himself is tied up by Brainiac's robots. Saibon rushes forward using her Banshee powers to knock the robots away, but even she is quickly captured and teleported. Across the city, Livewire, Metallo, and Parasite are all also captured and teleported away, until finally, Superman has had enough, demanding that Brainiac show himself, but he's grabbed by 2 Caesarians who pin him down. Why are you doing this? Why are you working with Brainiac? Superman demands, and he looks up to see General Chakal approaching him. Wow, wow, wow. We got a fancy Krypton. It must be scary to think that you could lose another home, the General says with a laugh, anger flashing in Superman's eyes as he hits the General with a blast of heat vision, though it does little more than burn his leather vest. You know where it is? You beat on a distant relative of mine a few times. Some geekoid named Lobo. He must have been real soft, because you don't look like a whole lot to me, Chakal laughs. But Chakal's gloating is interrupted by Brainiac, who orders the General to finish up, to return to the ship before the rest of Earth's heroes can appear. You hear that, Kryptonian? Chakal says with a shrug, but Superman stops his fake struggle and smiles. Which means Brainiac's ship is hidden in our atmosphere. Close, he says as he knocks the warriors aside, rushing at Chakal, who draws his bottle blaster, firing, but Lex jumps in the way of the blast. You're the only person who can save us now. He has my daughter, Lex says before he disappears with the warrior. Superman launches himself into the sky, flying high up into the atmosphere, but Brainiac's ship disappears before he can do anything. Returning to Earth, Superman lands on the roof of the Daily Planet, where he finds Lois waiting. He looks down on the destruction of his city as Lois asks him what he's going to do to get everyone back. His eyes burn with red anger as he grits his teeth. Lobo, he growls. Meanwhile, aboard his ship, Brainiac gathers the other Brainiacs around him. Superman will come for us, and we will be ready. Now, this concludes the beginning of the House of Brainiac, the newest event going on in comic books. And if you want to know what's happening, make sure you like and subscribe right here at Comicstorian, as I'm going to be bringing it to you weekly, as it appears to be a weekly release. So I'm hoping you enjoyed as much as I am, because that intro was awesome. If you want to know how we got here with Superman, click the link down below to watch the Superman playlist to see how we got to here, how he teamed up with Lex, and what's going on. Anyway, guys, thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.